What's poppin', Palaxy? Today on the Bounty Board, we are going episode by episode through Season 1 of Echo. Such a fun season because your boy Kingpin be crazy. So y'all already know the deal. Kick up that warp drive and let's punch this thing. Welcome back to the Guardians of the Palaxy podcast. My God, I haven't seen you guys since last year. What the heck? Sorry, I made that joke. My name is MT. Can you tell I'm 31? I'm entering the age of like the dad humor. It's like, yeah, I haven't seen you since last year.
Join us.
Come to me. Join me in our corny jokes.
That's the price of getting older. My name is MT, and I'm here today with my amazing friends, Whitney Van Laningham and Tommy Bechtold. What's going on, gang? How are you guys doing?
Yeah.
Dude.
Oh, so good.
So good. It's technically a little bit of a lie, though. You lied a little bit, MT. We did see each other this year because you guys saw me on my birthday.
Yes, everybody. Whitney has been a year older for a while now. So everyone,
for a whole while, a whole 4 days. I've been 33 years old for a whole 4 days.
Wow.
Happy birthday to Whitney. Everyone say happy birthday.
Thank
Spam
you.
happy birthday in the chat.
Thank you. Thank you.
We're so happy that you're alive, Whitney.
I'm 33 years old. 33 years old means I am finally at the age where as long as I make it through, I will outlive Jesus Christ himself. And that makes me very excited. I'm excited to outlive Jesus Christ himself this year.
You know what happens to people that outlive Jesus Christ? He gets a little cross with them.
This sounds like the beginnings of a really weird horror movie. It's like, Jesus Christ is coming for the 34-year-olds.
And he's a little cross. And then it's just like...
A little cross. Cross Christ 3.
Well,
Cross.
You know, I didn't celebrate my own birthday, but I certainly celebrated my number one gal, my best friend in the whole Palaxy, Whitney Van Laningham. But I am now in my new little spot in New York, and I got to say, if you're reading a little sweat on my brow, that's because I don't know how to work the heater in here. There's like 3 heaters. I got like a unit up there. There's a fake wood-burning stove that's a heater. Those are both on and firing right now.
Oh, I love a good fake wood-burning stove. The faker.
Remember that cult that just sweat lodged people to death? Yes. I'm starting that cult, but I'm the only member, and
awesome.
I will be the only victim.
Hell yeah.
I will be the only
victim. Only member and the only victim.
Well, I'm so happy to like chat with you guys today, man.
I know,
we got
I'm so happy to see you guys again.
Is this officially the start of season 2 of Guardians of the Palaxy?
I started laughing really hard this morning, and I literally just, it's probably still saved. It's probably still up in my Twitter drafts and I just forgot to hit send. But I laughed so hard when you were like, recording with the pals today, excited for season 2. And I was like, well, that is how I learned that we are on season 2 of this podcast.
Can I be honest? I don't even know if that's true.
I don't even know if that's true. It just sounds cool to say.
We certainly had no discussion about this. It's just something I've seen other podcasts do. Pretend like they're not just ready to record at all times and be like, it's a season.
It's a season. We're organized. This is definitely deliberate and we're making a conscious choice. No, I like the way that we're in our sophomore season of the Palaxy.
That's right.
Like, that just sounds cool.
We're a little older, a little wiser, a little cuter.
A little cuter, a little sexier.
A little hotter.
Dare I say, a lot sweatier. A lot sweatier.
If we had Patreon, I'd do this show shirtless, but we haven't added that up.
Oh, man.
Season 2, baby!
Season 2 is when we get a Patreon.
Yeah, season 2, that's a tease.
That'll
for
be
later,
our mid-season arc.
Later. Oh, my voice is echoing. Echoing.
Oh, and speaking
what a transition.
Of echo.
Mission. What's going on?
Us, Whitney.
Speaking of echo, we just had a glorious little season drop, all of its episodes on us yesterday. I binge watched all of them at the same time. I know that y'all had some screeners, so you saw a couple of the episodes before I did, but this was one of Marvel's new little spotlight projects. So it's under like the Marvel Spotlight banner, which means that they are focusing more on character-driven narrative content. And it is more of a situation that an average Joe on the street could be like, hey, what's this Echo show all about? Alakwa Cox, super cool. Love sign language. What's going on? And they can just check it on out. I was wondering how you guys felt about did they pull off what they intended to with the Marvel Spotlight? Do you guys think that the way that they introduced Echo to the MCU in her little like mini series debut, as opposed to like her little tiny intro from Hawkeye, like now this is like her big intro? Do you guys think that they nailed it in terms of the Spotlight content they're trying to give us?
I think interestingly, for me, they nailed their personal goals or their mission statement for Marvel Spotlight in terms of character driven content and content more digestible for non Marvel fans, Marvel Comics fans. But I feel like where they failed, and Whitney, I was having a conversation with your lovely husband and one of the producers of the Palaxy, Brett. Where they failed was the Marvel stuff for me. I mean, not necessarily the Kingpin Maya stuff, but the Echo as a future Marvel hero or Echo's place in the MCU felt very, to me, nebulous by the end. I didn't feel like, oh, I see where. I felt more like I see where Kingpin goes from here.
Right.
And less that we have any urgency to see Echo again, which for me is a negative on the series as a whole. I have a lot of positives of the series, but for me, one of the negatives is I think it failed, in my opinion, to establish Echo's place in the hierarchy of the MCU, to quote The Rock, Dwayne Johnson.
But, it's the best thing he's ever said, to be honest. Because
it's a gift that keeps on giving.
It's a gift that keeps on giving.
And that's not to say that I don't think, I'm not going to make any excuses. I think personally, or qualifiers, because I think Alakwa Cox's performance as Maya Lopez and the characters that played that made up her family and the people of the town, and even some of the backstory New York characters made that show soar. I think just in terms of it being an MCU project, it felt a little thin broth for the MCU side of it. Outside of maybe 20 or 30 minutes that featured just Kingpin and Maya. That's my personal takeaway.
Cool. How about you, MT?
I thought like I really enjoyed how Spotlight, makes things more bloody and like more adult. Like that's always great. And like and I really liked the action sequences a lot. Like the fight with Daredevil, that was super dope. I just think overall, I definitely agree with Tommy that, they could have done a lot more stuff to, firmly or explain or go into like, Echo's power set, or like, explain like why this is happening, or, like if they were to like drop the M word, like the mutant word, like, hey, she's a mutant, I'd be like, oh no, this is really cool. Like she's, this is a mutant story and all that stuff. But like all this sort of is just coming out of like left field for me. It's like, all right, she has powers now. And, before she was like super cool. She was like kicking ass on her own. Like she was just a super cool fighter. And so like, if you're going to introduce powers, like I just need a little bit more, it's like why does she have powers now? It just seems like, all right, randomly she has powers because her ancestor had powers. And like, now it's just activating now randomly. So it's just like, why now? Like what's going on? And I don't know.
No, I think that makes perfect sense. And to piggyback on that, I think that there's been a tendency in the last few, not excluding What If, the last few live action Marvel Disney Plus shows, is they kind of get stuck. The characters get stuck for the last 2 episodes where they are and what they're doing. Like to me, this show never really made me feel like there was going to be this giant climactic battle between Maya and Kingpin. I almost would rather that confrontation took place at the end or in the middle of episode 5, and we see Maya in New York, or come like whatever her next. I wouldn't mind a kind of a Game of Thrones wrap up the main conflict in the penultimate episode, show us what's next in the 5th, or kind of split the finale. I think like both Secret Invasion to me and this show suffered from, we kind of set up at the beginning of the penultimate episode what the final battle is going to be, and then we just kind of slog through it through 2 episodes in terms of pacing. So anyway.
I liked Echo. I thought it was pretty good. It's not my favorite. It's not my least favorite. I liked it. But I I agree with you guys with so far with everything that you've both said. So I'm gonna take my little note, because I think that my note about the overall show especially applies to the first episode, which is that I think that this show would have 100,000% benefited from like an extra 2 episodes. I think that if they had just had a little bit more time, which has been my complaint with like the last several Marvel projects, is like give things room to breathe, give moments space to have impact. The thing that got me off on the wrong foot at the very beginning of watching Echo, I texted Tommy and MT and I was like, you guys, is Echo just really boring? And they'd already seen episodes before me and they were like, no, what are you talking about? And I was like, this is boring. I don't know what you guys are talking about. But the first episode for me, I really liked the idea of what they were going for with that. I really enjoyed that it was both a recap for all of us who had already seen what had happened, and that it was an intro for people who didn't have time to watch all 900 other fucking Marvel projects that have come out this year or in the last 3 years, honestly. But I thought that was like such like a good idea, good concept. But I don't think that it was executed properly because they jammed so much into that first episode of giving us a recap and also giving us new information. They jammed so much in there that it didn't give like the really impactful moments enough space to like hit you. Like, for example, in that first episode where they do the scene where like Hawkeye tells her like, Fisk is the one who asked me to kill your dad. Like, he's the one who wanted your dad dead. That was so impactful when you were watching Hawkeye. And here, it's like a 2-second clip and then it's on to the next thing. And you don't have time to like absorb, like, oh my God, this guy who's been like an uncle to her and a second father figure is the one who betrayed her dad. It just goes by so fast that as somebody who's already seen it, it was lackluster in comparison to the first performance. And I was trying to think, if I had never seen this before at all, like, I don't think that it would have had that much of an emotional impactment on me anyways, because I wouldn't know jack shit about these characters. So why would I care? It was this 2-second moment in episode 1. So I really I did not dislike that they were doing like a recap / refresher / explainer. I did not think that that was a bad idea. I just think that the way that they did it was it just didn't give you enough time to really, really give a shit.
Well, I think now that is where I have to make a stunning confession to the Guardians of the Galaxy. I loved episode 1 and was so puzzled by everybody on the internet who I love and respect had little notes about episode 1 being a bit of a snooze fest. And then I remembered I never finished Hawkeye. I only got through 2 episodes. It wasn't on my beat, so to speak, for things I was working on. Out of respect for MT, I never lay eyes on Haley Steinfeld unless I have to.
I appreciate that. But how dare you? She poured her heart and soul
into that project, Tommy, and you didn't even watch it.
And you didn't support. You didn't stand.
I understand, and I do stand. I stand all over the world. Uzbekistan, Kazakhstan, Afghanistan, Pakistan. But here's the thing. I was rolling through episode 1 of Echo, learning and digesting, getting into this character, old friends, new friends, all appearing on screen. I was happier than the proverbial pig in slop. And I realized that episode was basically like when a sitcom does a clip show because they want to like save money on an episode, so they just show old clips. I was like, oh, this is the Marvel clip show. All right.
Yeah.
Well, but for me, it was all new and it was all good.
Brand new.
So for those of us that said bye-bye to Hawkeye, you're going to love episode 1. You're going to learn. You're going to love. Everyone else who is doing their due diligence, I'm sorry. So that was why I was so bullish on episode 1.
No, dude, if it was effective for you, then that's great. I was worried that it wouldn't be effective for people who hadn't seen it, just because like it happened so fast that it's like, wait, what do you mean that Hawkeye killed her dad, but he was Ronin? But when did that happen? Wait a minute, that was happened in like sometime after 2018, but before 2023. What? Like, even I had to like look up the timeline afterwards, because I knew that it happened when he was Ronin, but I was like, okay, wait, so it was post blip but like pre double blip, like
It was confusing, and again, I think also the actress Alakwa Cox, her presence doesn't seem like someone in their early 20s, although that character age wise or timeline wise would be in their early 20s. She carries herself like a
yeah,
grown ass adult.
for
Not that, I mean,
sure.
obviously 20-year-olds are. To me, her age was only really grounded when she was in scenes with Bonnie as an adult, and you realize how young the actress who's playing Bonnie was, and how immature not immature, but just
Yeah, but like
youthful she seemed.
comparatively, just because obviously one of them grew up to be a trained fucking
Right,
assassin, and the other
exactly.
one got to just like, become a firefighter and like follow her
Right,
dreams. So like, yeah,
yeah.
no, I 100% agree. Alakwa
In a way,
Cox,
they're both first responders. It's
in a
just
way,
the
the
response is different.
response is vastly different.
One is a first responder to double tap. One is a first responder to double zap. This is clear. Yes. I don't get out much in New York, guys. This is my social life.
Dude,
I got a freshman basketball game to watch with my nephew in a little bit, and other than that, it's bedtime for Bonds. Oh, nope, I have a drink with me tonight. Sorry.
oh hell yeah, have a drink with
Oh,
me.
nice. I do want to like backtrack a little bit and talk about Chafa, if that's okay, like the beginning of the episode.
Yeah,
Sure.
oh my
With
gosh, of
her
course.
ancestor. Because like that, obviously is like the main crux of the episode, and like it explains how she gets her powers. But like I do want to talk about like very briefly about that pool, that like very mysterious pool of blue
Yeah.
energy.
What is in it? Cave jacuzzi.
Like that jacuzzi is literally where she got her powers, essentially. Like that's where Echo's powers come from, because like in the MCU,
Echo got her powers from a hot tub time machine. Pass it on.
but like no, the MCU tends to have this pattern of like where superpowers come from this mysterious blue power source that Nick Fury was looking into, called dark energy, at the dark energy mission facility in Avengers 1. So dark energy is literally what makes superpowered people in the MCU. We see it with Wanda, because we had a little dark energy in Loki's scepter when it exploded. We see it with Namor at his birth, because they were a very vibranium based people, and they drink that blue goo. Kamala in her blue powers with the Nor powers, like this blue energy is very much where superpowers and mutants will definitely be coming from the MCU. So like when we sort of see it in What If with Cohorty, when she goes into her own blue pool of Tesseract energy. So like I really liked how they adopted the Choctaw myth of of Chafa, and like emerging from from a cave into the light, because like the theme of going from darkness to light is very much the whole theme of the whole season.
Yeah.
So like starting off the episode of like, all right, we're people going from the darkness of a cave into the light of the sun, very much like mirrors Echo's own journey from being a dark assassin to be embracing the sun tribe of the Choctaw Nation, and becoming a more hopeful person and like a less isolated person now that she's coming together with her family. So I just really like that.
Dude, it is really cool. And that is something that I like admire so much about this series, is how the way that Marvel and Disney worked so closely with the Choctaw Nation to get like historic accuracy and make sure that they were sharing these stories in a way that was like accurately representative of their people. I thought that it was really cool that we got to see like these thriving and like exciting new communities of these indigenous people, because a lot of the time with Western media, all we get to see is, like, what we saw in Pocahontas, where it's the white man coming in, and or we see, we see indigenous people portrayed as like primitive and not knowing as much and needing to learn from us, like the white settlers. We see that so often in like Western media. And so this was just like a breath of fresh air to actually see like a thriving community that is a more accurate portrayal of what the Choctaw Nation's tribes were like during that time period.
I thought it was super cool, and like watching the show made me realize how little I see Native American actors on TV or Native American representation in general. Because I was just like, oh my god, like this is very very new. Like obviously, like that content exists out there, and like there are Native American movies and all that stuff, but like it was so cool just to dive into that culture and then like and learn. I felt the same way about this show like I did about Miss Marvel, learning more about Kamala's culture, and I was like, whoa, this feels like a little like Magic School Bus field trip to like a different culture. And like I love how Marvel does that, because like it is like a really, because the world is humongous, and like I love how we're just leaving New York City and going to different places, because like it makes the Marvel universe feel alive, and it makes it feel a lot like our universe, where like like after shows like Miss Marvel and this, I'm just like, maybe I should like consume more content from these cultures, like just to learn more. Like it enriches me as a person. So like I really appreciate that about Marvel Cinematic Universe projects a lot, because it's more than just like one perspective.
I'm here for MT's Multicultural Movie Club.
Yeah. My strongest hope with Echo is that Echo is just like a backdoor gateway to watching Reservation Dogs, because that is one of the best comedies.
I've been meaning to watch that show.
Dude, it's so good. And the girl who plays Bonnie in Echo is on that show. And she's incredible. Like, oh my gosh, it's fucking hilarious. It's really poignant. It's really emotional. And it's a great show. Go watch Reservation Dogs. It fucking rules.
Episode 2, opening on a lacrosse game, an ancient lacrosse game or an early version. I love those.
So cool.
Where I grew up in Western New York, there's a lot of the originally poorly conceived sites where they're like, you can have this building to like put your art and culture up. Now, one of the benefits of that when I was a kid growing up was I got to see a lot of that stuff. And there used to be some amazing, the Iroquois Nation up here in Western New York, there used to be some amazing artwork of like paintings of a bunch of people playing lacrosse, early versions of lacrosse. And I used to love, I think we even had maybe a print of one in our house. And I don't know if that's wrong. Sorry, I canceled my parents. I didn't have any choice over what up on our walls, but we had a cool art picture of lacrosse. I loved that opening sequence.
I loved it.
All of my bad movie watching and bad TV watching habits came out because I was so worried that something horrible was going to happen. I'm like, oh no, this is going to be her getting the powers. And I thought that bastard lacrosse dominator, who definitely was taking performance enhancing drugs, needed to be tested. I thought he was just going to kill everybody.
I loved that opening scene. It was so fun, especially because, first of all, I had just texted you guys, lol, IDK, episode 1, a little boring. And then you guys were like, what do you mean? And then I started episode 2 and I was like, oh, this show actually fucking rules. This scene rules. I love the lacrosse game. Thought that was so fun.
Stickball.
Stickball. Love the stickball game.
I just Googled it just now. I was like, we should probably get the name of this.
I think that's great. Thank you for doing that.
Thank you for doing that.
Thank you for stick-splaining to us.
I would truly watch an entire Ted Lasso series on stickball, and that woman just fucking kicking ass, dominating.
As long as he still leaves his wife for a mysterious reason, I'll watch Ted Lasso do anything.
Anything.
I just love watching guys move across oceans to get rid of their wives. That's my passion.
It's my passion.
Is that what happens in Ted Lasso?
Don't watch it. Just watch it with an open mind.
Show.
Don't let me poison
you. Don't let me poison you. It's just a nice show about soccer and nice people.
And leaving your wife.
My
favorite genre.
Don't write in.
Soccer, nice people, leaving your wife. It has everything.
If Sudeikis is watching, I don't want to hear it. You made your money. Now go away. The very polarizing next coming up this season on Echo trailer that played at the end of episode 1. I resent that they showed us Biscuits in his pickup truck driving behind the train because that was such a cool sequence,
It
and I wish
was.
I
I
didn't
love
know
biscuits.
that she just jumps over the cab and does like a commando roll into the bed of the truck. I really wish that I hadn't known that was coming. That would have been a cool moment to
Yo,
experience.
I never ever watched the coming up next on like because like Doctor Who does that a lot, like with their episodes, and like I always stop because like it always spoils so many of so much of the next episode. So
I'm not a fan of it. But I understand why they do it. But I also think like, it's diminished returns, and a lot of times, especially in Marvel or I mean Star Wars. I think the past few Star Wars live action Disney Plus series have had coming up this season
Mhm.
Oh,
trailers at
really?
the end of episode one. I
Yeah,
know
they have.
Ahsoka for sure did, and I think Mando season 3 did as well. Which is like you don't need that at all. Unfortunately, this time the teaser kind of contained all factual information, whereas a lot of times those teasers are manipulatively edited to
Yeah,
make
exactly.
Right.
The reason why I don't watch the Rick and Morty ones are because they scare the shit out of me. At the end of every episode of Rick and Morty, where they're like coming up next, there was one where it was like, is Rick gonna kill us all? And then I get scared and I'm like, is Rick gonna kill them all? And then for a week I have fucking anxiety. And then it turns out that it's just like a dream of a fart of a Meeseek saying that, and I had nothing to worry about the whole time. I again like. Sorry that I keep broken recording, but I just think facts like this are really cool. I love the historical like little tidbit that they put in episode 2 with the stickball game, because like that's how we started playing like sports ball games, whatever you want to call it, is because people would play a sport instead of going to war, because like otherwise there'd be like a shit ton of bloodshed. So if you wanted some guy to get out of your neighborhood and take his friends with him, you'd be like, all right, bitch, it's stickball time. Let's go. I win, I stay, you win, you stay. Cool. And like that's like how people legitimately used to decide things, and now we have the Super Bowl. And I thought that was really fascinating, and I loved that they like included that little tidbit of knowledge nugget in there. I liked it a lot.
Yo, imagine if like we use sports to solve like political disputes like that. Like
Bro,
that would be so crazy.
We'd be the most dominant nation on earth.
We really would. We would bring guns into sports for the first time.
Like imagine it like we were beefing with another like country. It's like, all right, well, if you guys want to keep acting like crazy, we got LeBron James.
That's right.
How do you guys feel about that?
LeBron James, LeBron James, LeBron James.
Good fucking luck with that.
I'd love that. I think if only. I loved the payoff of the train heist being not taking something, but rather rigging up an explosive.
That was a cool reveal. I also love that they show her just completely eat shit when she tries to jump on the train, because it's like she doesn't have her powers yet. She's still just a person, and a person would eat shit if they tried to jump on a train. And I love that.
Absolutely.
I absolutely love that humanizing moment. I was like, she is all of us. I too would eat shit.
Personally, I wouldn't eat shit if I jump off a train.
MT's just like kind of the best at jumping on trains.
You're what's known as a train leaper. You're a professional. You have soft knee joints that allow you to leap from train to train.
I hitchhike around the country, hopping on train to train. So like I'm
every
used
time
to
I try to fly MT to Rochester, he just says, "I'll take an Amtrak."
I'm chilling with the train hobos, and I really like that episode. Like the train sequence was dope. It was. I just really wish this show had more action sequences. Because like
me. Or longer action sequences. If they just lengthened the action sequences a little tiny bit, I think that it would feel a lot better. I think it would feel a lot more satisfying.
Like it would. You're totally right. Like I just wanted more, especially with that Daredevil fight.
Dude, the Daredevil fight.
I feel like it ended.
It ended so soon. I was like, no, give me like a full solid 4 minutes of this.
Right.
Like I need it, especially because the premise was so cool. It's two people fighting that have zero way of communicating with one another in that moment. Like obviously if they sat down, they could probably figure it out. But like in that moment, they have like no like on the like off the cuff way of communicating with each other. So them having a fight is so interesting and cool, and they're both such excellent fighters. I wanted that scene to be like 10 times longer. I loved it.
Sorry, I went back to episode 1. I'm so
Whatever. This is the Palaxy. We don't have a roadmap.
But let's do episode 3 now.
We can go into episode 3. We can talk about 3. Oh, yeah. That opening, though, the opening of episode 3 was fucking cool.
I liked it silent movie style.
Yeah.
Also, come on, let's get the special presentation wheel spinning. Give us a Light Horse Police Department special presentation. Give me like a 1910s in the Dakotas, Light Horse or whatever, or like in Oklahoma, Light Horsemen just dominating, taking out scandalous thugs and thieves.
Light and Horseman, SVU. That's what I want to see.
Light Horseman, in my office now.
Light Horseman, get in here.
Like, I honestly, I would love to see like some type of special presentation for that as well. Because like, I love that era of Marvel. 2 of my favorite Marvel heroes come from, that era, which is Two Gun Kid, which is like a cowboy. He has 2 guns. Like, I cannot wait for Two Gun Kid to come to the MCU. And I'm blanking on the other one. It's like, my God, it's Red something. Like, I really, like, I just want more of those back in the day, like early Marvel Comics heroes that were just like, the colonial days of America. I just want those heroes to come in because like we're in the multiverse saga. It's a very time travel-y type of thing. So like there's so many heroes from the past, like the distant past, that we just don't know of because like, they were all just washed away by history. So like I would love if we just had like a special presentation for like all the old school Marvel heroes. That'd be really dope. Anyway, that's a weird.
No, it really would be cool. I want more Werewolf by Night, but from other places and time zones and locations and
more werewolves, more nights,
more moons, more Marvels.
More Marvels. But, we can't stay in the past. We must go to present day. And my God, Make America Skate Again is under attack.
Make America Skate Again is under attack.
And was the skating rink butthead, was his name Valerie?
I guess. I think so.
He did have like a traditionally woman's name, right?
Yeah.
I forget what
he
his
did,
name was.
I think, I'm pretty sure. Yeah, he was a real big bag of dicks, that guy. Only a big bag of dicks would paint Massa on the wall.
And if only I hadn't seen him with blood pouring out of his head at the end of episode 1, I would not have known that he was going to get his comeuppance. But unfortunately, they showed us a full second of him bleeding out of his eyeballs. So I had a bad feeling he was going to get murked.
That fight was obviously my fucking favorite for 2 reasons. One, because it took place in a laser tag zone. I've always wanted to fight there. If we ever get into a fight, meet me at laser tag, bitches. That's where it's going down. That's where we're settling it.
We never fight.
I pray we never fight. But if we do, we are settling it with the guns, with the laser guns in the dark with glowing neon lights around us. That's what I want. And 2, we are going to fight to Dragula by Rob Zombie because that was incredible. My only critique of that scene was also let them fight to the whole song. Like, let them finish out the song. It just ended so abruptly. And I'm like, okay, first of all, if you're using that as like a background sound, like she turned on the Rob Zombie. How did you turn off the Rob Zombie at the exact right moment? You didn't. Don't. Let the song play out. Finish kicking ass. I wanted more of that because it's definitely the perfect song to kick someone's ass.
And the next song on the playlist could be a joke. It can be like Pina Colada song or something. And or like, something Walking on Sunshine.
Yeah.
Also, tearing out the guns from whatever Lethal Enforcement or whatever that game is.
Oh, that was so great. And then using them as whips was the coolest. I was like, she's like Indiana Jonesing, but with arcade gun cable cords.
Like, I wanted more of that throughout the entire season. Cause like when I was watching that, I was like, this is so much fun. Like, this is why like I'm excited for Echo.
I could watch Echo ski ball a dude in the noggin every day of the week. Yeah. I could watch that 9 days a week. I loved it. I loved it.
That needs to be in like one of the promo materials. Like, I can watch her ski ball a man to death every day of the week.
The Guardians of the Palaxy's Whitney Van Laningham says, I can watch her ski ball a man to death 8 days a week.
No, speaking of that place, like I really like my favorite actor of this. I mean, besides Alako Cox, throughout this entire season was is Henry, right? The dude that owns
Henry.
Yep.
Henry, my God, like I've never seen that actor before in my life, but like he has like an intensity or something. Like I was like, yo, I want to see you in more stuff. Like you're so good. Like I want to see you more in the MCU. Like if there's a spot for him, like I want to see more of him because like he feels like he has a very interesting past, and like I don't know, like that actor just he was so good. I love that choice. Anyway,
I agree. I thought he was fabulous.
No, I really liked Henry. Really liked that episode. That was definitely my favorite episode, if I have to say. Because then she just comes home and Kingpin is like there.
yes,
He's just there when she
yes.
gets home, and she had just gotten done being like, "No, that guy's dead. Don't even worry about him." And then she gets home, and he's like, "Just kidding, I'm not."
Do you guys have theories as to how he could have survived? Because like that was a point blank shot to the head.
In his, like through his eyeball. Like, wouldn't that
He still has an eyeball.
shatter his brain matter? Yeah, he still has an eyeball.
Right.
How does he even
Do
still
you
have
think
an
he had
eyeball?
Stark nanotech?
I think at this point he has to have like the Rick Sanchez like built-in like cybernetic enhancements to survive that, because that's
Yeah.
the only. You can't survive a point blank gunshot wound to the eye. It goes into your brain is like right there, and if a bullet goes through your brain, you can't just like put your brain back together. It doesn't work like that.
See, that's the thing. Like I'm just like, yo, how the hell would you survive that? Like, what is the canon explanation as to how Kingpin is just like, I'm Kingpin, like just accept it? Or like I have this weird feeling that Kingpin might actually be revealed to be a mutant sometime down the line.
Oh,
MCU.
I was gonna say, I guess he just got the vaccine, but no, mutant is way better.
Was he vaxxed?
Was he
Double
vaccinated?
vaccine boosted.
Double vaccine boosted.
Pfizer, Moderna, my powers combined, and Polo.
But no, like I think that like, you know, given his past as growing up as in a really traumatic environment, probably kicked in his like weird latent mutant power for like regeneration and extra strength or something, because like this dude is like abnormally strong, and he can survive like bullet wounds. Like there's something, there has to be something there to Kingpin's physiology.
I mean, in the comics, it was kind of like just implied that he was like genetically not enhanced, but just like he just kept growing like the way a giant does. And he doesn't like, even though he's weirdly got like a massive, like his head has body fat. The rest of his body is just like huge. Like it's just like, it's like the mountain.
He a big boy.
He a big boy.
He's just a big
He a
boy.
big boy. And I'll be debuting my Broadway show, Young Kingpin. It's just I took scripts from Young Sheldon, and every time they refer to Young Sheldon, I just wrote in Kingpin.
Yeah.
So it's just an episode of Young Sheldon.
Every time it said Bazinga, you just Control-Alt replaced it with Vanessa.
Yeah, I was just gonna say that. Oh my god! I just went Vanessa.
Vanessa.
So you have to say it like young Sheldon, but in the cadence of Kingpin, I think is where this is.
I would watch that all day, every day, honestly.
I mean, listen, there's probably a lot more similarities between Sheldon and Kingpin than there are between most characters.
Most characters, yeah. I would also agree. I have no proof, but I agree with Tommy.
I stand two neurodivergent kings getting together and you know,
building an
take over the
empire.
world.
But no, like just a quick note on the little contacts that Kingpin uses, and his cybernetic eye. I feel like those two elements were possible hints to Kingpin working with Val, because we know that like he has a connection, and Val is very connected. Like she is.
Thank you, MT. Thank you for bringing up that. That makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, that actually makes a lot of sense.
We needed your beautiful brain from the Big Head Gang. Yeah, that's why. That's perfect.
The obviously, not to jump the gun, but like the very end of the episode of the season rather teases, you know, Kingpin running for mayor and all that stuff, and like we know that Val is very much, you know, tied to the government, and like it seems like to me that, you know, we're going to see a situation where Val and Damage Control and Kingpin all sort of work together.
Wait, MT. I'm sorry. Are you implying that the federal government could interfere with local elections on a statewide level and put a
No.
candidate of their choosing in? Hang on. I'm not just going to listen to your tinfoil hat conspiracy theory. Come on,
We gotta watch
man.
out for the big government. Wait, what was the term they used to use all the time? Shadow government or some shit? I don't know. I forget.
Oh, yeah. Absolutely. The cabal.
The cabal.
The cabal. I mean,
Oh,
that's
yeah.
literally what we're going to be seeing happening. Because, like, we're sort of getting, obviously this is going to be an adaptation of the Devil's Reign Marvel Comics event where Kingpin does the same thing. He runs for mayor and, like, he abuses his power. But, like, we have rumors that Spider-Man 4 is going to be a very, like, a Civil War II-esque type of thing for street-level Marvel. So, like, because we know that in the Devil's Reign event that the Powers Act is essentially like very much like the Sokovia Accords of old, that it very much is like it outlaws or tries to outlaw people using their superpowers for vigilantism. It feels like we're going to get another Civil War II through Spider-Man 4, and I'm very excited for that because Kingpin is the best antagonist for something like that.
I'm excited for that too, MT. But I'm perhaps a little more excited about today's sponsor.
Today's
Woo!
sponsor. Who?
Yeah.
And I am so glad you asked because we're going to find out who they are right now, ladies and
I don't want to reveal.
germs.
I'm gonna let Whitney tell you because I don't want to reveal, and I'm so excited.
This sponsor is so very special to us. Obviously, they are the first sponsor of season 2, the sophomore season.
Season
of the
premiere
Palaxy.
sponsors. They spared no expense.
Spared no expense. This is the absolute wonkification of our ads. All right. 16. Number 16 is soft. Ooh, soft.
Ooh.
I love when things are soft.
Me too. Okay, that's 9.
6
Soft
and 9?
rash cream.
Oh.
Soft rash cream?
Rash cream.
Ouch! My rash cream's too hard again. Why will I always be rubbing hard rash creams on myself? Will there ever be a solution? Can anyone solve my problem? I'm sick of it. Maybe I'll just let these rashes fester.
Tommy, that's disgusting. Please don't do that. We here at Soft Rash Cream is here to step in when your friend is about to let a disgusting rash fester. Hi, our soft cream is so soft that you can put it all over your body. It won't be hard at all. If you were thinking...
Who are you? Why are you in my apartment?
Why? Because I have some soft cream to slather on you, you goose. You silly goose. That's why I'm here.
I'm a January 6th insurrectionist, and I carry guns in my house. Can I have soft cream?
You sure can. Soft cream is for even the softer at heart.
Thanks a lot, Biden.
Listen, I have completely stopped using pillows. You know why? Because I just fill a rice sack full of this soft cream. It is so soft that I just sleep on the cream and I have beautiful nights of sleep.
And that's perfect if you develop any weird overnight rashes. Your problem is double taken care of.
10 years ago, my body was damaged beyond repair. I was rubbing hard rash creams all over myself. People said I may never even talk or walk or see or smell or spit again. But thanks to Soft Rash Cream, Soft, by the way, is the name of the brand. It's still hard as a rock. It is devastatingly hard. Soft is the name of the brand. Soft Rash Cream has literally saved my life. Sure, I have a defibrillator. Sure, I have a pacemaker. Sure, I'm undergoing blood transfusions 3 times a day. But without my Soft Rash Cream, I don't want any of it.
I don't even want to live. I would rather die.
Thanks, Soft Rash Cream. Thanks, America. Thanks, LeBron James.
Make America soft again.
Make America soft again. You know what? America do be needing to get soft for at least 1 year. People are too horny these days. Anyway.
Well, if you thought 3 episodes of Echo was great, wait till I tell you that there's 4. Actually, 5.
Oh,
Episode 4.
Oh my God.
4 and 5, you say?
Episode 4, we're learning more, as I always say. We get a nice origin of an ice cream shopping experience, an ice cream purchase.
You know how
Beautiful.
that's always a great bonding experience with your father figure.
Well, although I will say, if you get caught by a child mercilessly beating an ice cream vendor to death, and her thing is to go kick him, you're like,
Yeah, you're like, I picked out the right kid.
I got away with this one. I mean, I like to think of all the little schemes I pulled over the years with my dad, and I'm like, we didn't let my mom in on. We never beat someone to death. But, sorry. Also, though, some of my favorite characters in like big budget action projects are the way over the top 5-line and under character, like guys ice cream selling jerk. So it's like his job is to roll around selling ice cream. So we can infer some things about him. Unless he is said owner of the company, life has not gone the way he hoped, right?
Yeah. Life has not gone the way he hoped. Pugsley agrees. He's woofing about it.
So yeah, I can believe that he's miserable, but how he doesn't realize within 10 seconds that he's speaking to someone who's hearing impaired or has hearing impairment is beyond me. And the fact that he doubles down and gets meaner and meaner about it, I'm like, only in maybe not, maybe someone who has lived life with a disability could tell me that I'm wrong, and they were constantly getting picked on by customer service people, but like I feel like they're always so over the top mean to like instigate whatever's going to happen, and it's like, I mean, he just was such a dick immediately.
Yeah, just this guy, like his life must have gone so bad that his whole thing is like bullying disabled 8-year-olds. Like, okay, bro, just like what an asshole.
Like that is why I did not feel bad whatsoever when he got his ass beat, because I was like, bro, you should know like that this little girl is deaf. You should be a little bit more patient with children in general when you're an ice cream man.
When you're an ice cream man, that's your chosen profession of the moment. I mean, sure, maybe it wasn't your lifelong dream, but it's where you're working now. And I might have gotten fired from Haagen-Dazs when I was 16 for giving out too many free samples, but that just means I gave out too many free smiles.
That's right.
This guy is the one who should lose his ice cream job, not 16-year-old Whitney. Not me, not I. Justice for 16-year-old Whitney. Let me Haagen-Dazs again.
Haagen-Dazs, more like Hagen.
More like Hagen toss you in the trash can, you bitch.
Oh.
Yeah.
Haagen-Dazs always finds out, just like
Baskin Robbins podcast from now on.
Yeah, Baskin Robbins always finds out is genuinely the most jarring line from Ant-Man.
Oh my God. Well, I'm still haunted by that because I've done some bad things at a Baskin Robbins. Now, here's the thing. This next moment in the episode, I feel like I want to talk, maybe in the past, this is something we would maybe theorize about, but I want to pontificate on this point. Maya finishes her training and Kingpin immediately kills her interpreter. Now, you could say the interpreter walked off into a hallway and maybe Maya, not being able to hear, didn't know. I believe she did know. I choose to believe that she knew. Is there a line of reasoning that Maya has seen and done too much to be redeemed as a character in the MCU? Like, she's killed so many people. She was
and so many like innocent randoms,
and completely nonplussed by her uncle murdering the only communicative conduit between her and him. Could you argue that the character of Maya Lopez has done too much bad to be good? I don't know. I don't think so. I mean, the way comic book movies work, no one's ever too far to be redeemed, right? Like pretty much you could.
Right.
I just think it's bonkers that her ancestors are like, yes, this is the one that we should be giving all of our powers to.
Not the one first responding to accidents.
Who's like, not the one who's like first responding to accidents, but the one who is kind of
Biscuits, who loves dogs.
Or Biscuits who loves dogs, monster trucks. A healer who loves dogs and monster trucks. That'd be a good gig for Biscuits.
Yeah.
Yo, what if season 3? What if Biscuits got the powers instead?
What if Biscuits got the powers?
Also, we're renaming Billy Jack Gravy, and they're going to be Biscuits and Gravy.
They are.
Biscuits and Gravy. Why didn't they? Oh my God, they should have just named the dog Gravy. That would have been so funny.
Yeah, why didn't they name the dog Gravy? If I was a man named Biscuits, I'd have a dog named Gravy.
I bet somebody said that's too good. That's too
That's too good.
I don't want this show to thrive. It's too good. Name him Billy Jack. But no, Whitney, I think your point is, or I think it was Whitney. Apologies if it was UMT. Bonnie should have gotten the powers, right?
Bonnie should have gotten
yes,
the
I agree.
powers. Like, instead, they're just like, okay, so this is a woman who, like, allowed her, sign language interpreter to be brutally murdered, and also a rando ice cream man on the
Right.
street. Like, and all of the other
And then
people,
killed
obviously,
tons of
the
other- I mean, I
Kingpin.
guess
Yeah,
you're
just
supposed
killed
to-
like a ton of dudes. All the train people,
Yeah.
those people definitely died. Anyone who was on or near that train.
And you're telling me that every single person that Kingpin sent her out with the tracksuit mafia with was completely guilty, like criminal who deserved to die?
No, some of them
violent
probably
death?
were just annoying to him. And he
Yeah.
was like, Maya, take care of them.
Maya, I need you to go kill my accountant.
Oh my God.
Kill my
I need you to
massage
go.
therapist.
I need you to go kill the woman at Starbucks who forgot to put oat milk in my latte.
How dare! I mean, sometimes it'd be like that, man. When you're lactose intolerant,
Sometimes it'd be like that.
My
I get
massage
it.
therapist accidentally rubbed on my arm and saw me get a bone. I need you to kill her.
I need you to kill her.
She can't know what the king's pin looks like.
That's a really good point that you brought up. Like, how, like, is Maya able to be redeemed at this point after all the people that she's killed? But like, I feel like that is the appeal to a lot of like characters like your Wolverines, because Wolverine has a very similar past, like the Winter Soldier.
Yeah, I mean, Tony Stark literally forgives Bucky, and Bucky is on video killing his
Killed his mom.
He has Bucky gone wild killing his
Did he ever actually forgive him?
I mean, I don't know if he forgave.
Because like
he allowed
they
him
never
to
really
live.
saw each other after that.
He allowed him to live. I think that's as close to forgiveness as you can get as Tony Stark.
The Wakandans forgave him, right? They housed him, and he killed T'Chaka.
Yeah.
This is true.
Is that true? Did he kill T'Chaka, or was that or no? That was Baron.
That was Zemo.
Zemo killed
Zemo.
You believe the propaganda.
I did.
You believe Zemo's propaganda.
That's why I killed my COVID with bleach in a bathtub. Double B's. Forget your double V's. I do the double B's.
Bleach bathtub.
Butthole.
Also,
Triple B.
shout out to Bullshit in ASL making it onto the show.
Oh yeah, Bullshit is my favorite in ASL.
My parents were both teachers at the National Technical Institute for the Deaf. So when we were kids, I really wish I still had it. We learned a lot of sign language, and then when I was a younger man, I worked with kids with special needs, so we learned a lot of sign language. And I am embarrassed about how little once you stop using it.
I was a summer camp counselor for kids with special needs, and I worked for 3 months with like a lot of deaf children. So I know sign language like enough to like communicate with children. I don't think that I could I'm nowhere near as good as many people. Yes, but my favorite thing that I can do. It's my fun fact always when people are like, hey, Whitney, what's one fun fact about you? I can play that funky music, white boy, in sign language.
Ooh, Whitney, please show us.
Play that funky music, white boy. Play that funky music right. Play that funky music, white boy. Lay down the boogie and play that funky music till you die.
That is so impressive.
I love it.
Till you
Holy
die.
shit.
All I know is back off, bitch, and ugly. Because all I do is hate.
Because I'm just a hater. I can also say quit eyeballing my lemon drink boy, because the summer that I taught at the deaf children's camp was the summer that the movie The Happening came out with Mark Wahlberg and Zooey Deschanel, and it was a M. Night Shyamalan movie. And so we all learned how to say, quit eyeballing my lemon drink boy. And we would say that to each other
Hilarious.
constantly.
I would say of the, over probably 2 billion movie quotes there are in the world, that's the one to get down.
That's the one to get to know in sign language. It's the most universally recognizable. It's from a beloved film that everyone has seen, and not just me when I was a camp counselor in a town that had one movie playing at the one movie theater.
And it was all Footloose, and there was no dancing.
It was all Footloose, no dancing.
And it was the remake with Miles Teller. My best friend, Miles Teller. We got to keep going on this episode. So I think this is episode 4 is when Maya and Chula finally reunite, right? They finally speak.
Yeah, they finally actually hash their beef.
Yeah, they talk it out. Henry deceives Maya. Maya goes into her trance, and Henry's like, you know what? I'm going to take you to your aunt.
She's going to wake up at Grams.
Yeah. Hey, you know what? Worst places to wake up. after disassociating. I'll tell you that much. So I thought the woman who played the grandmother in this show did a nice job of being a kind of unlikable character, because in the beginning, and then you grow to like her more. Like, stubborn characters are so hard. I don't say this from having a ton of acting experience doing this, but I say this from watching a ton and having friends who have done it. Playing a stubborn character is really difficult to do in TV and film without coming across as obnoxious or annoying. So many hateable characters that over time age better. It's because they played stubborn in a way that there's like once you go back and revisit it, you're like, oh, they're stubborn because of the pain, their character. Like that grandmother, Chula never got over her daughter dying. I mean, imagine going through the trauma of having a difficult birth and then having to bury that child after already coming into this world fearing for her life, and then you have to bury. I can't, like, all of that. You can rush, you can kind of forget about it while there's action scenes and train stunt shows going on, and Maya has her own stuff going on. But I thought the woman who played the grandmother did a really nice job of towing the line between being like, all right, lady, come on, be helpful, and also being wounded and damaged enough. And I thought that Maya Lopez, Laqua Cox's character, not letting her off the hook at the end of that conversation, to me felt very real. If they had made up then, I would have been like, they're just out of time. They're out of episodes. But I thought
they're just out of time.
I thought that was good writing, just as an aside.
No, I agree. Like, I really like their dynamic a lot. And like, again, like like you said, like Chula's actress was phenomenal. I really liked her chemistry with her ex-husband.
Yes.
So great. So perfect.
I wish Scully had been at the picnic at the end. I know that's episode 5, but I wanted Scully there, or I want Scully to show up.
I want them to get back together. I'm sorry. I'm a sucker for old people love. I just want them.
Wanted to be like an early 2000s rom-com where everyone's back together.
Like where the grandparents get back together too. Yeah,
and
that's exactly what I want. And goes,
I want you guys to meet my son. His name is Scar. And then, and then the angry-looking CGI Hulk comes in and is just like, I hate you, Dad.
They gave me this terrible haircut.
My name is Scar. My haircut sucks.
My haircut sucks. I hate you.
My dad's a fucking nerd.
My dad's a goddamn scientist.
No, dude, honestly, I loved that the grandma got superpowers in this episode. It made me really, really excited.
Was it this episode or last episode?
It was.
She got superpowers to give birth, to survive the birth.
Yeah, to survive the birth.
Right.
That's what I meant. Sorry. Yeah. So we see her have her superpowers, like, which is when she is going through that difficult, like, childbirth scenario. And then, of course, skipping ahead, in episode 5, she also gets her powers reactivated during the fight scene. And I just really believe in my heart that this perfectly sets us up for another future MCU banger series called The Old Avengers.
Yeah.
And oh no, I remember what I wanted to call them. I wanted to call them the Twilight Avengers.
Oh.
So they're going to be called the Twilight Avengers. So it would be Chula from Echo, it would be Aisha from Ms. Marvel, and then it would be Hank Pym, Janet Van Dyne, and Krylek from Ant-Man 3. Because they are the grandparents of the MCU. They are the people who confirmed have grandchildren, and we need them to also form a super team like the Young Avengers, but they're the Twilight Avengers, and they all live in Florida, and they are retired, but they still solve crimes.
They live in that crazy Florida sex estate where all the all the septuagenarian or the 70-year-olds move. They retire down there and they all bang it out. There's
is that real?
I'll send you some links.
There's like a sex community down in Florida for old people.
Yeah. Yo, that's what I'm saying. Yo, like I got a place to go to when I turn 70, bro. Like, are you kidding me?
If you're willing to be here when you're 65, I'll buy a place for you when I'm 75. We'll live out our days podcasting, romancing the ladies at night during our like samba lessons. I'll drop over hopefully in like mid-5. So
I can't wait that long, bro. I'm going next week, man. I'm going to be there next week.
Next week.
Our lives become a sitcom and we move into a senior development.
I would love that. It's just 2 boys in plaid and you guys move in together into the senior development.
Boys, boys, who you gonna screw? Who you gonna screw?
She's not too old for you.
Oh man, that's the May December that I want to see in theaters. Also
Yeah.
the actual movie. Before we move on to episode 5, there's we have to talk about Fisk trying to give the murder hammer. Always good to bury some evidence with your surrogate niece. Like,
Oh,
leave
yeah,
the
that was
murder
pretty
weapon
wild.
of a cold case. He's like, this is how I got my freedom. And she's like, oh, you killed your dad? I had no idea you were a bad guy before this. This is the first time I'm learning that you
This is the first time I've ever heard of that. What?
Yeah, that's crazy.
I heard your dad was killed. I didn't know it was you who killed him with this hammer.
Also, Wilson Fisk is amusing to me because he reminds me of all of my, like, what I would call my petty friends in high school and college that were like, big things didn't bother them, but like tiny grievances festered at them, like pouring like citric acid in a cut, or like lemon juice in a paper cup. You'd be like, hey, can you help me like move? And I'd be like, no. And they'd be like, no big deal. And then they'd be like, hey, can I get your Hulu login? And you'd be like, no. And they'd be like, are you fucking kidding me, man? I can't get your Hulu login. We've been through so much together. Like, this would be like, take over my empire, and Maya will be like, I have to think about it. Then he's like, take my murder hammer, and she's like, no, and he's like, ah!
Why would you take my murder hammer?
Yeah.
Why did you leave after that? What do you mean you left?
I put it in gift wrap.
Like, that is such a psycho thing to do. It's like, here's my murder weapon.
Yeah.
Take over the family. What?
Yeah.
That's nuts, bro.
Yeah,
Here you go, kid. Start a true crime podcast with this thing.
Not okay. Fisk hammer. I like it. So that guns us straight into episode 5, the titular Maya character, the last episode
Maya.
of Echo. And, to my earlier point, we do kind of see the duality of Maya, the two sides to her, right? Like the living in between two worlds is kind of like, could be taken a lot of different ways, but one of them could be evil versus good. She flat up kills a woodpecker. Just kills it.
Straight up. It's just a child sociopath, just killing small animals.
And then whether or not she felt guilty or thought she'd get in trouble, she brings the woodpecker to her mother and initially lies and then tells the truth. And her mother uses the healing power of Christ. I'm kidding. Her mother uses her healing powers to heal the bird, basically. And that's kind of like when we're like, oh, okay, we already knew this was like a passed down through ancestry power, but it basically manifests itself in like whatever the person needs, right? Like the mother was a healer. Echo tends to use those powers in times where she needs superhuman strength, right? Like her legs, her prosthetic is pinned in between the two railroad cars. She gets the spirals on her hands and she's able to push it. So I thought, like by the time I was still in my head wrestling with like, is Echo a good person or even a redeemable person? The woodpecker thing definitely weighed heavily on my, maybe not, because kids who kill animals become serial killers. So that's certainly
that's one of the 3 prongs of the triad of sociopathy in children is killing small animals.
Yeah, so not great, but we hope she learned her
Okay.
lesson from that. And we do see, later in the episode when she's, kind of reminiscing, and when her mother visits her, she looks back to that moment. So it is important to her. She did learn a lesson from that. So I'll buy into it. But of course, Wilson Fisk is not happy, guys. She turned down the hammer. She didn't meet him to accept his generous gift of becoming what I sure would be a long and lucrative life lived as his underling. I'm sure she would have, the second she got to New York, he wouldn't have killed her. I'm 100% positive. And that kind of takes us into the end of the episode and the end of the series, where I think we were talking about it before. I kind of felt like here is where it fell off the hardest for me. It kind of went out with a whimper rather than a bang. It felt to me, and I'm interested to hear what you guys have to say, that by the end, rather than this big battle that we're hoping with all these stunts and action sequences, it kind of just went out with like, I was comparing it off camera to Nickelodeon Henry Danger level good guys beating up bad guys. It was kind of like cartoonish.
Yeah,
I mean, at one point, the grandmother Superman punches the guy into the ceiling, like an uppercut into the ceiling. I just felt like I wanted there to be a bit more of a struggle to get Grandma and Bonnie back. And instead it was more just like girls can get the job done too, kind of, the thing of like, a disingenuous girl power moment, albeit a touching family moment.
I agree, because I had just kind of like completely different expectations for that fight scene also, where first of all, I was like, holy shit, is Zayn just about to do a hate crime on this carnival, on this like very charming,
that's a great
charming
point.
carnival? I was like, holy shit, like what?
Off camera, yeah, like no joke. Thinking outside of it, I'm like, the Choctaw Nation had been so involved in sharing their like actual traditions. They're showing this festival and these like ceremonial dances. I'm like, are they going to do like an action sequence where these people all have to run for their lives from like a murderous Eastern European man? Because I don't know if I like that.
I got so scared that that's what was going to happen. I was like, oh my God, is this what's going on? Thank God it didn't, because that festival looked dope and those people deserve to have a nice time.
The one woman who was getting the prime location for her booth, I just wanted her to make a good profit.
I just wanted her to make a good profit on that booth, man. I hope that she got all the gains that she looked for. But because they obviously did not do that, it did feel anticlimactic to me. Like, I'm glad that they didn't do that, but also like they just like ended up getting Zayn real quick, and it just felt like, oh, there was nothing, like nothing at all happened.
Kind of defeated the guys in the vans by monster trucking over them, but they all clearly
he got a monster
so
truck.
It's like, did they not have gotten out and started shooting? I don't know.
Yeah, exactly. Like, where it just felt like, okay, so you did a sick monster truck trick. That is cool. Don't worry, that's cool. Like, don't get me wrong, but like, it just felt like it ended so quickly that it was
very Disney Channel-esque ending.
Yeah, very Disney Channel-esque ending,
like,
for sure.
What the show needed to do was like have it end with a very with a Echo solo like, you know, action sequence where she shows each of those powers that she's gained throughout the season, and like it highlights like what makes this hero different from other heroes. Whereas like we just got like, all right, let's do this whole family power thing, and like her powers are still a little bit mysterious. I mean, we know what her powers are, but like what made Echo appealing when she first appeared in Hawkeye was that she was this cool badass fighter. Like she could go hand to hand with Daredevil, like as we saw in this series. So like I want to see her old life meshed in with her new powers, and like how
like how does she use them to work together? Exactly.
Work together in this new way. And so like I'm just concerned that, you know, I don't want Echo to become like, you know, this like, all right, superpower only superhero, because like obviously that's a big part of her, who she is now. Like her powers are part of her identity, but like, you know, I also want there to be like that whole very the physical like badass like kick-ass part of her, because like, you know, I like her power set in the comics, how like she's just like basically essentially Taskmaster in a way that she could copy, because like it kept her, you know, very human and very like vulnerable, and like she wasn't just like the superpowered person. But like now that we have given her superpowers, we should like make sure to, Kevin Feige should have just been like, all right, she's still badass, she can still kick your ass, but like these will just help her become more badass, and like she's not going to use it as like a crutch or whatever. Not that she does, but like, anyway.
I agree with that 100%.
And then we get the classic Fast and Furious / She-Hulk / end of the movie family barbecue scene.
You gotta have the family barbecue.
You can drink whatever you want, as long as it's a
Corona.
I'm trying to think of the Midwest. As long as it's a Hams. Yeah, and then the post-credit scene, which we touched on before, Kingpin mulling
Guess
a
he's gonna be the mayor.
Yeah, I love it. Now, here's as we land this bird, where does this show sit in the other Disney Plus shows for you? What kind of tier do you put this on?
For me, it's like this has nothing to do with like the quality of acting on the show, because I thought that all of the actors knocked it out of the park. I loved the premise. I loved all of the cultural and historic aspects of it. Thought it was great. I like my shows to be a little bit more on the fun side personally. And this one wasn't fun. It was good and it was interesting and I enjoyed it. It was enjoyable. But I think that like for me, like something like your Ms. Marvels and your She-Hulks appeal to me more than your what do you call it? Winter Soldier and
Falcon and Winter Soldier.
Falcon and Winter Soldier kind of deal, or your Secret Invasions or your Echoes. I like the fun shows just a little bit more personally, but that has nothing to do with like, at any of the things I just said. All of those things I said are still true. I think that this one ranks lower for me overall on the list of TV shows, but not because it's bad, just because
that. I think that's very fair analysis. MT, what do you think?
I would say like it's definitely lower for me because like I do wish that we had more action sequences. I feel like, we didn't see Maya Lopez being like a badass like fighter as much as we would have liked in a an Echo show. I do like that we dived into her past and her heritage. That was super cool, and like I really like how Marvel does that. But like I think that if you're gonna make a show like this, like especially with an unknown character, you gotta like bring your A game. Like you gotta give like a hype reason for people to be like, yo, like we gotta watch Echo. We gotta expose ourselves to like this culture that we're not really used to, because like we're also getting badass fights and badass action sequences, and like I just wanted them to reach that like obviously not be Daredevil, but like to reach the Daredevil type of like hype that like people like that gets people excited to like want to watch more and more Echo. So like the next time we see Echo, I hope that we, if she doesn't get a season 2, I hope that they just like step the game up and like just like really just like bring like the excitement and fun to the action sequences.
I was only going to add in, I think that like a really good case study of how Echo could be handled if they do future seasons is honestly fucking Peacemaker, dude. Because that's like exactly what this show, I think, wants to be. If you like, not obviously not identical, but it wants to be like a character driven narrative. It wants to employ elements of a person's like childhood trauma that inspires and informs who they are in the future and who they are today. I think that Peacemaker also had the same like TV mature warning, and I just felt like Echo could have done so much more with everything that they had. They could have taken it to a Peacemaker level, I think, if they had wanted to, but that was also a show that took its time and like allowed things to have the emotional impact, like I said at the beginning. So sorry, that was me adding on to what MT said, because like, yes, I agree. I think that there is a way.
I agree with you guys. I mean, I tweeted out today that I really liked it, and I did. I would say for me, I liked everything about this show except for kind of the struggle of a lot of the more recent MCU properties. It doesn't leave us with a strong what's next for the cinematic universe. I'm not necessarily saying I was expecting Echo to kick off, Secret Wars or Fantastic Four or something like that.
Yeah, but I was hoping for more than I guess I know a mayoral candidate in a fictional universe.
And I think, again, your Brett and I were talking off camera before the show, and it's like the story and everything about it that could have just been a singular story that had nothing to, like, if you just took the themes and story of this character and made it a non-MCU project, I would have been gripped and riveted in it, and it all worked for me. The tying it into the MCU-ness of it, with little Easter eggs like Roxanne and all those other things that we saw pop up. Roxanne having
or just the Madripoor name drop real quick.
Madripoor making cheap products.
Cheap rugs.
All of that is fine, but when that's it just feels to me like, I don't know, maybe Marvel Spotlight, all of them will prove to be that distance, but this to me felt the most distance away from, and I don't know. I just think for how what they have and the potential they have in this character, I would have loved to have seen it pushed closer to the MCU rather than remaining kind of nebulously outside of it. So yeah, as a show on its own, it gets major thumbs up for me. As a Disney Plus Marvel Cinematic Universe show, it gets a kind of upper mid tier for me. I would say better certainly than Secret Invasion, and for me, I enjoyed it more than Falcon and Winter Soldier, just based on what the content was. Yeah, I think this is a win for the character, but definitely a product that we're seeing was before Feige had his like referendum that came out a couple months ago. We're seeing these are kind of the last few projects I think before the kind of turnaround, or not turnaround is the wrong way to say it, but adjustments in these.
Yeah. The
readjustment.
kick in the ass that
Yeah,
Secret Invasion gave to Feige when he realized, oh no,
Oh, I shouldn't just
We
let
have
this
to-
guy
get away with
this
it.
guy
I should
who's like-
care more.
Yeah, if the guy at the junket is going, I don't really care about Marvel. That's probably a bad sign if he's your world builder. Anyway,
Yeah.
I digress. You can watch that interview on YouTube on a channel somewhere else. Anyhow, that's good for me. I had a great time talking Echo. Season 2, to me, I feel robust. I feel powerful. I feel like
Oh yeah, I feel strong. I feel sweet. I feel smart. I feel loved. Hell
I love going
yeah.
to Season 2 of the Palaxy because there's no reason to
Me
do
too.
that.
There's no reason to call it season 2. But guess what? It's season 2 now.
You
That's
know
what it is now.
I feel like as I get older and weirder, as if that's even possible, I'm going to become one of those spectacle people that's like, we've got to make everything feel like I'm going to have like a step and repeat at my house. And when people walk in, I'm like, pose for the
Yeah.
camera. I want to give a special shout out. Thank you to Whitney, who did the lion's share of the outlining of this episode. Thank you to her for
Amazing.
I
giving
had
us
too much coffee last night and a dream.
She did a
God
great
damn
job.
it.
And of course, thank you to our amazing editor, Alexa,
Alexa, Queen.
and our wonderful producer, Gretchen Phillip Turley. Don't
Queen
dox her.
Alexa,
Oh,
the perfect
stop.
sweet Breton
I'm
Turley.
so sorry. Alexa, stop.
Oh wow! Oh the
I can't say the A word
the
around my piece
A-word.
of technology. It's so funny.
Alexa never stopped editing our podcast, but yes.
Please don't ever. But seriously, y'all, for fun Alexa treats and tricks, go head on over to the Guardians of the Palaxy Twitter, because Alexa is most likely going to be the person doing most of the posting, because I don't know how to log into more than one account on my phone, and she probably does. And she is amazing and a queen and beautiful and perfect. And so if you like us and you like her silly sweet memes, give us a follow at Got Pals.
Yeah.
Yes. And also, of course, I know we did briefly, but shout out to Brett.
Yes.
Yeah,
puts the-
Bretters.
He's the producer, and like he's very much a huge core of the podcast. So like we don't really see him a lot on camera, but like he is literally the fourth member, the invisible fourth member.
He's
the
very,
fifth
very
member,
cool
rather,
and good at this.
of the pod.
Yeah.
So,
And of course, the
love you,
sixth
Brett.
member is all of you out there in the Palace.
Yes.
Thank you for supporting us.
You guys are like the city in Sex and the City. You're our
Yes.
sixth main character.
Make sure you check out MT's work on heavy spoilers. You better check out Whitney
Yes.
Vision, or I'll kick your ass. And you can check me out in the streets.
And have a drink with me.
Yeah.
Have a drink with me podcast.
And maybe an unknown vanity sports and pop culture podcast coming soon. I don't know. I'm thinking about
Hell
it.
yeah.
Ooh.
Hell yeah. Hell
Call
yeah.
in
Hell
if you want
yeah.
to see it. But until then, please be good to your pals. Always be good to your pals. We love you very
Yes.
much. Have a great day.
Bye.
Take it easy, guys. Love you guys.